plenty of classes as well in this, aren't there? Because there are classes that are to do with the age, to do whether it's front engine or mid engine, which engine it's got. It might have a Fiat engine, it might have a Lancia engine, it might have a Ford engine. So we've got all these different classes. We're not going to get too carried away with that because to me, in a way, it's the different cars that are interesting.
Yes, that's right. Yes, I mean, Formula Junior racing very often is close, very competitive. But you might have a group of cars with 2 or 3 different classes involved, but the drivers aren't too worried about that. They're out there to enjoy themselves and have a good race. We're looking there at Pierre Livingston, who is the reigning Classic Formula Ford champion, and he's switched over to Formula Junior for this meeting.
Yeah, absolutely. That's going to be interesting to see a few quick drivers. Of course, they have been racing earlier on this year in a couple of events. So I was noticing Brands Hatch. There was a Formula Junior race earlier, and in fact Chris Goodwin won it. Sadly, he's not racing this weekend, I don't think. A friend of mine, we used to race against each other in Formula First, and we used to instruct together as well. But I don't believe Chris is actually racing this weekend. But some quick drivers that we'll be watching out for, who did well at Brands earlier this year, and we'll see how they get on. Clive Richards he got fastest lap. He was a bit unlucky at Brands Hatch. He's another guy that I used to race against in Caterhams as well, so he's done quite a lot over the years, and that's what's so lovely, I think, Alice, about so many of the drivers that we're going to see this weekend in so many different categories, with experience some of them experience for many years. You know, as we said, Duncan Rabagnati, who's been racing the Formula Junior since 1990, but we've also got, as you say, some young, competitive, feisty racers who've got a huge amount of talent.
That's right, and that's the beauty of historic racing in general. Formula Junior is particularly attractive to drivers like that because it is very competitive, but they are proper racing cars. But in historic racing generally, we have a huge range of younger drivers coming up, but we still see the old favourites that we've seen racing for many decades.
Lovely. We're just watching Peter Livingston, the historic Formula 4 champion, who's now in the junior heat, and you can see him really working at the wheel. You can see how slippery it is out there. But that's what's lovely to see about watching a driver in a Formula Junior. It's not a car that's on aerodynamics, and therefore you've got to keep it really smooth all the time. There will be quite a lot of movement on the steering wheel from the drivers who are trying to find the grip. And if you watch him closely, he is working quite hard.
Yes, that's right. He's in the Lotus 22, and that's a perfect picture to show the width of the Silverstone Grand Prix circuit. These little Formula Junior cars, although, as I said earlier, they did race in Formula 1 as well, the same chassis. So we'll see in the historic Grand Prix cars later on in qualifying, where we've got the same types of Lotus racing, but with a Grand Prix engine rather than the Formula Junior engine. Yeah,
lovely to see. He is fastest at the moment. By the looks of things, we're going to see complete laps coming through, but a good start to the qualifying for him on this rather damp circuit. We'll have to see whether it's going to be damp over the weekend. We're definitely going to be getting the odd showers coming through. He's done a 2 minutes 43.9 to sort of set the initial pace there, but he's been showing some good sector times. Cam Jackson's going well though. In fact, Jackson's just gone quickest. So I've watched Cam Jackson race a bit. He has been mightily strong this year. He's leading, isn't he, the Autosport National Driver kind of competition, which is across the board for everybody. He keeps winning in historic Formula Ford. I saw him at Snetterton earlier this year, and he was absolutely dominant.
Yeah, well, he uses the same Formula Ford car in classic and historic Formula Ford, and he races in the juniors as well. And I commentated on a meeting earlier in the year where he won all 6 races.
Wow.
It's amazing. Cam Jackson's preparation of the car is superb.
Very impressive. But we've got a few other cars that are moving up the order now as well, which is good to see. And we'll find out who's going to be setting the outright pace.
We've got Sharon Edelman, who's quickest now in the Brabham BT6, and but these early laps, Ben, I think we're going to see a lot of movement on the timing screen, which is the drivers are trying to find where the grip is out on the circuit. Silverstone is very flat, and the tarmac is very smooth because it's a Grand Prix circuit. And most of the circuits that these cars will race on will be a little more bumpy, a little more grainy in the tarmac, so that they've got to get used to that.
It's Definitely, yeah, plenty to get used to. 51 cars out. Actually, is it 51? Yes, looking at who's setting just a 51st car actually isn't showing any times at the moment, but 50 cars are showing sector times around the track at the moment. 50 cars, it's just fantastic to see that kind of level of entry, and yeah, seeing how they're getting on. You'll see some interesting names amongst them. We've got the Malak name in there, which is great to see. Ray Malak driving his father's invented U2.
Yes, the name U2 actually came from a contemporary advert at the time on television, which was U2 can have a body like mine, Charles Atlas. And Major Arthur Malak, who was Ray's dad, decided to use that name for his car. We've got a safety car out.
Yeah. Well, not surprising that there may be the odd spin in these conditions, I have to say, although a spin like that, which has got going straight away, isn't really a problem, wouldn't cause a safety car. So I wonder if somebody's actually gone off somewhere a little bit more seriously. That car just joining on, that was Nick Taylor in the Elva. That's a pretty rare car, actually, the Elva, isn't it? Had that little spin, but he's got, now, there we are. There's a car that is actually stopped on track. So that is a tricky spot. Yeah, it's going into Copse, isn't it? So that is why the safety car is out. That makes a lot of sense, because that is a pretty dangerous place to just be stopped. If you go the other side of the Armco barrier, then you'll be on the pit lane exit, which would be fine. But where he is right now, he's slightly offline. So that's a very tricky position, and hopefully they can get that sorted out.
Yeah, that's it looks like a mechanical failure rather than a spin, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But hopefully the marshals can hop over and push that car round the corner and perhaps into the pit exit road, and we can get this sorted fairly quickly. It's a little bit of a problem for them because it's quite a short session and it's a long track, so they don't get many laps in.
That's very true.
And we've only got about 9 minutes to go in the session now.
So Sharon Edelman is fastest at the moment from Pierre Livingston, second quickest, and then third fastest Richard Bradley. Richard in a Brabham BT2. There's the safety car taking to the circuit to make sure everybody is in a settled pace.
Richard Bradley, a very experienced driver. You may have come across him in sports car racing as well, and he and his father Ed Bradley race, and Richard very quick indeed, so we see him up at the top of the times there, but it's still the Sharon Edelman car that is quickest. Neither Livingston, Bradley nor Jackson, and also Sam Wilson there as well. All these drivers are very quick in Formula Junior every time we see them.
Nick Carlton-Smith is in the mix as well, a little bit further down the order. He is currently in 16th position, and he is a regular racer in the juniors, in the Kieft Formula Junior. There are some wonderful names, aren't there?
Well, yes, you might think Kieft is a foreign car, but actually it was a chap called Cyril Kieft, and Sterling Moss was a director of Kieft, and he started his racing career it was actually the 500cc Formula 3, which was a precursor to this Formula Junior. But Sterling made his name in the 500cc Formula in a Kieft, became a director, and of course the rest is history, as they say, and we'll be talking a little bit about Sterling Moss, I think, during the weekend as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Kieft was, Wolverhampton was the base of Cyril Kieft, but a very unusual name.
Yeah.
In fact, there's another car which some of the manufacturers gave their cars unusual names because it then allowed them to get a bit more start money when they went to Europe.
Number 13, you're looking at John Arnold in the Elva 100. Obviously, an early car there. With that, that's a front-engined machine. Looks like an early Indy car, doesn't it?
Yes, especially with that paint finish on it. The Elva built in East Sussex by a chap called Frank Nichols. And for those of you who know a little bit of French, the name comes from the French for she goes, Elva. So we thought that's a nice name for my cars. Actually made road cars as well. But very successful in the front-engined section of this race. I'm sure we'll be seeing them at the sharp end of the front-engined results.
Number 92 there, just following behind the safety car, that's Westy Mitchell in De Tomaso. As you said, the Italians sort of started Formula Junior. De Tomaso was one of the regular competitors in junior, wasn't it?
Yeah, and they obviously made road cars as well.
Yeah.
I'm sure we've heard of those. Yeah, it was very much an Italian-based formula initially, with Johnny Lorani developing it in Italy. But then over the 5 or so years that it ran, 58 to 63, it very much moved towards the British manufacturers, and by the end they were dominating.
I wonder if something has been adjusted on the timings, because suddenly I noticed that Cam Jackson, Pierre Livingston are back up there, 1 and 2. I wonder if there had been a little error or something on that timing, because it did show Sharon Edelman fastest, and now that's dropped down. So I think there must have been a slight problem there on the timing, but it's now Cam Jackson who set the pace earlier. Let's hope they get another lap or two, though, because there's only 5 minutes to go, just over 5 minutes to go in this first qualifying session of the Classic at Silverstone.
Well, we've got certainly the top names towards the top of the timing screen at the moment, but there are equally some very quick drivers who are not at the top of the timing screens, and they'll be the ones that perhaps came out at the back of the queue, and they haven't really had a chance to dial into the circuit. And that, I suppose, that shows the importance of getting out there early on track. But Cam Jackson, Pierre Livingston, Richard Bradley, Sam Wilson, they're all really quick drivers. Chris Drake as well in 6th place, I see there. Ray Mallock, it's great to see Ray still racing. Ray now is 70 years old.
Is he? Wow.
Yes,
Oh,
yes,
that's
just
fantastic.
turned 70.
And of course he's been a key man in preparing cars, running cars for other people over the years, hasn't he? Run some fantastic touring cars over the years as well. Which we'll see some of the cars probably he ran, to be honest, as we go through the course of this weekend.
And a competitor at Le Mans, of course, many
indeed.
times, especially with Aston Martin.
Yeah. So some lovely machines heading down, but it's just a shame to see them behind the safety car. Richard Ferris, number 65 there. That's Richard, and that's the Donford Formula Junior.
That was built in Australia. One of a couple of Australian cars that regularly race in the UK Formula Junior scene by a chap called Jack Myers. It just shows how far the Formula Junior went in terms of the manufacturers, all the way from Australia, and they were racing all around the world. It wasn't just a European series. They had series all over, and now we see some of these cars reappearing.
Good to see. Well, they've picked up that car, thankfully, that has caused the safety car. So hopefully we're going to be getting this underway, but it's not going to be very long. Are they going to get one lap in? Remember that a lap is 2 minutes 41 is the fastest so far. We've got 3 minutes 50. I'm not sure they're going to get a flying. They may get one flying lap in. Let's wait and see. But that is obviously a little Lotus that is not very happy, unfortunately.
That looks like it's a transmission problem, doesn't it? Because if it was,
they would have pushed it.
They would have pushed it. That's right.
Yeah,
They've picked it up, so maybe a transmission failure there, unfortunately, stranding that car on the inside of Cops Corner.
So there's a chance the safety car might come in at the end of this lap. Might just get one flying lap in. Let's hope they do. It would be nice. They've had a good chance to see the track conditions, I suppose, behind the safety. Oh, we've got another car going rather slowly there. Number 19, Ralph Emmering, in a Gemini Mark II, another front engine machine. Oh, he's pulling off. Look, Alistair, this is not good, is it?
No, that's. I was just about to say the safety car's going through Beckett, so it's not far back to the start line. We should get another lap in, but now Ralph Emmerling's pulled off. They may be able to get that out of the way and allow them. The Gemini was built another UK car. That was by Graham Warner, who ran the Checkered Flag Garage, and you might remember the Checkered Flag in rallying days. They ran the Lancia Stratos, but he built the Gemini cars named after his star sign.
Well, let's see if they're going to get a chance. There will have been a message from race control to the safety car driver to say, well, don't go too quick, because we've got another problem with the car now, and if we get it out of the way in time, we will bring you in and give them another lap, but we're not sure yet whether that's going to happen. Heading down towards Stowe. So the Marshals, who will be doing a fantastic job all weekend. Well done to the Marshals, always great to see you. As part of the British Motorsport Marshals Club myself, it's great to see you all, and the fact that you'll be here with fans this weekend, that is also lovely, to be able to enjoy it with the popularity of these cars and the support of the fans is going to be a really special event for all of us, there's no doubt about it. But are we going to see any more running in this session? That's the big question mark here.
Well, we've got a minute to go, and it looks like they've been released, doesn't it? Yes.
Yeah.
Still. Yeah. Green
We've
flag.
gone green. That's
flag.
great. So they've got one flying lap. Okay. So this could completely change the lineup for the race. It's pretty much the checkered flag will be out in less than 50 seconds, but that does give them a chance. Hopefully, I hope that actually all of them get through.
Yeah.
I wonder if they will all get through, because 50 cars have got to get across the line before that goes to zero.
It would be nice if there was a latitude to not put the flag out until the last car across the line, give them all a chance, and there may well be, but timing is so tight at this very busy classic. One or two cars taking it very gently indeed, and some of the quicker cars trying to get through, and very close there, right in front of us.
Oh, there's a spinner as well, Abbey, just in front of our commentary position. Thankfully, he's got it pointing the right way. There he is, he was nearly collected. The number 26 car, that's Roger Dexter. Man in his 80s who's been racing for many, many years, but sadly just got it a little bit wrong there.
Yes, just so many cars trying to get across the line, and it looks as though, Ben, they have allowed everybody to come across the line. We've still got cars streaming over the timing line, but we see no sign. Oh, checkered flag is out.
Yeah, checkered flag is out. Yes. So I'm not sure everybody's going to get a lap in here, but hopefully most of them will. So there is Roger, pulled over. He's on the runoff. He's not in a dangerous position, although actually if somebody gets it wrong through Abbey, they could end up collecting him. The whole field has gone past him now, and the marshals are running over. I can see from our commentary position they're heading over to try and get him started again. Presumably it stalled when he spun, and they may well be able to give him a push start and get it going.
Meantime, the first cars in the train are going through Cops Corner, so they will be able to complete their lap. Of course, the lap, when the checkered flag goes out, as long as you haven't passed the flag, it will be timed. So they do get a chance to the flag, unlike a few years ago in Formula 1 where it was weird, so the checkered flag came out, everything stopped at that point. That's not how it works here. You can see on the camera shot the spray that is coming up off even these little narrow tyres are throwing up plenty of spray.
Yeah, that's a good point, bearing in mind there's not too much standing water, I'm glad to say, but it is very slippery. You can see how slippery, and when you've got a slightly cooler summer day like we've got today, it takes a while for the water to dry away. It's a bit of a shame. Just have to look at the 166 car that we thought had set a pace earlier, but it's not the case.
No, Sharon Edelman has been dropped down the order, so there was obviously a timing glitch which has been corrected. And it's worth mentioning that with this particular formula, the grid for the second race on Sunday is exactly the same as the grid for race one. They don't change the grid for the finishing order. So if somebody's had a bad session, and a lot I think are going to have done, it will affect both grids.
Looking at the times, Alistair, there's not many people improving their sector times, are there? It doesn't, I guess the extra rain maybe that we had during that safety car period has meant the track is a little more slippery, and I'm not sure we're actually going to see many changes in the positions.
No, I think the problem they've got is that the track is getting slightly wetter as the session goes on, with a little bit of drizzle coming down. With also the cars being bunched up, the faster drivers are not really able to get a clean run through the corners. They're constantly overtaking. So we're still seeing Cam Jackson as the fastest. And as I said earlier, the faster drivers are there on that first 20 that you can see on your screen. There are names in there who you'd expect to be at the front, but equally beyond that, there are drivers who you would expect to be further up.
We just had a quick glimpse of the number 140 car, Keith Pickering, the Britannia Formula Junior. That's a rather stunning looking car.
Yes, that was actually designed by John Tejero, who was a British person, but born in Portugal, and best known for designing the AC Ace, which was then developed into the Cobra by Carroll Shelby.
Okay, well they're all seeing that checkered flag now, and as I say, I don't think we're going to see many changes in position. There's one or two further down towards the back that may be improving slightly, but it looks as though the front runners are going to stay pretty much the same, and it looks like Cam Jackson is going to be having pole position in his Brabham BT2. And there's not a great surprise. We were talking earlier on, Asda, about how brilliant he has been. His father Simon Jackson's racing this weekend, and his brother too, I believe.
Dominic, yes.
Yeah, Dominic.
Yeah.
I raced against Simon back in the day, but his lads have taken it on to another level. They really have. Fantastic.
Yeah. It's great. The whole family are here racing, and they're all very competitive. So that'll be good to see the father and brother racing as well.